All right. What you got, Chris?
Okay, so you all know on social media that people will, I mean, all the crime that's going on, not only in Baltimore City, but I know it's a lot of crime in a lot of different states. But the topic that I wanted to discuss is when the city officials offer reward money for people to come forward for a crime that they have no suspect. Like recently, Baltimore City police officer was ambushed, shot in her car, and right now she's still on life support. So they have no suspects in sight. They don't know. Well, actually, I think I just read recently that they do have 2 suspects, but before they got the suspects, they were offering $118K for someone to come forward with information if they knew anything. So my question for that is, do you think offering money for information will make people, give the information or come forward with what they know? Do you think offering money, that kind of money anyway, will bring people to come forward?
These large sums. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
my opinion, excuse me, offering that kind of money for information, I think, in the city that I live in Baltimore City, you got people like, if they might know something, but they ain't coming forth because I'm like, I'm not snitching.
Right.
Like, I don't want to be the one. And then you got some people that know something that don't say anything because they don't want to be that person. Like, oh, I ain't saying nothing because then they're going to come after me if they find out that I'm the one that said something. Because, it's a tick for tack type of thing, and then a revenge. Like, yeah. So I feel like some people might come forward. Of course, they say if you come forward, you can be anonymous. But how anonymous are you going to be once you've received that money?
Until you can't be anonymous anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like if whoever done it know that person that received the money that snitched, then I feel like they're going to come after that person because they realize, or they might be in jail, but they got people on the outside that they might can go like, yeah, this was such and such, and she lived this place and that place, so we need to get her because I'm in here because of her. Blame, you know how people play that blame game.
But what if you do this though? What if you take that 118 and move away?
Let's really look at the true value of $118,000. $118,000 is not as much as you think it is.
Yeah, I totally agree.
You can move to the other side of Baltimore for $118,000 and live a little better. The scary part about this happening and first and foremost, before we go into anything, our prayers are with that officer. She has continued to fight for her life, and I pray that she gets through this situation.
Yeah.
Baltimore being the corrupt city that it has been.
Yeah.
There has been some things that have happened to city officials in Baltimore that look like the city officials of Baltimore had something to do with it.
Yes.
Let's go back, what is that? Maybe 8 years now to the cop who was set to testify against some other police officers.
Oh, and then he
came up 2 or 3 days before that, he's killed in a neighborhood that he's been in before.
Yeah.
Right.
His partner and them supposedly got separated, and this man was shot and killed.
Yeah.
I mean, 118 grand is a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it ain't escape money.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what you do with it.
I mean, you might be able to move out of Baltimore City into Baltimore County.
Yeah. But they still gonna know who you are because
like that
and the
too.
thing is, I'm not worried about regular people knowing who I am. I'm worried about the city knowing who I am.
Right.
And that's the scary part about it. I feel like Baltimore City got a way of playing get back that it's rough, man.
Yeah.
So how do you combat this need for community involvement and need for community cooperation to have a better city, while at the same time staying safe in a city that, and this is just not endemic to Baltimore. I would assuming that, I live around D.C. Thomas, you live in D.C.
Yeah.
And so this is a city issue. How do you combat the issue of not trying to be a snitch, but trying to make your city make your neighborhood or your home a safer place, so that people just can't be out here shooting and killing people without knowing that they're not going to get caught?
Yeah, I think you have to have anonymous ways to tell. Like, for instance, that money, the money idea, I get that, but again, even as a defense attorney, you want to know the name of the person who provided the information. You want to vet that source, and once you do that, that information's out. Nobody's safe. Yeah. But I do think community policing, and also having a way that if I know something, you give me a safe way to call in where I can give you information that will lead to an arrest. And here's the truth. If we are unwilling to do that in our communities will not be safe. That's the bottom line. Right. So at some point, you need to be able to pick up the phone, dial 911, and say, look, I know that, Bobo over here did it, and
Bobo.
and here's who
Bobo
was with
and
him. Yeah, Bobo and them.
Be hanging at the corner of.
Yeah, we have to tell that, and then at least give them leads where they can let their detectives go out and find out what they need. And so that's going to be the best way, because us partnering and again calling in anonymously, except for those brave souls. And here's the final point I like to say about it. When it hurts you bad enough, you'll make a bold move. There are going to be some people, unfortunately, who have to suffer losses before they will say, you know what, I don't care about the money or anything else. I'm going to say what I know and take that stand, because you know what, I've had a loss, and at this point, what does my life matter if I'm going to live as a coward?
Yes.
So,
man, that's
I feel some type of way about it. But
and I hear you, David. I completely hear you. Yeah. But being someone who lived in Baltimore for a little bit, what would help is if I could trust the officials.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It wasn't that long ago. Every time you turn around, the mayor, somebody done something. Somebody done sold something. Somebody got this backdoor deal. Every time I turn around.
But that ain't no difference than no other city.
I know it isn't any different, but it seemed like I heard a lot about it when I was
in Baltimore. I feel like it's a lot going on in Baltimore.
The one you like the most. I can't like her no more. Here she go. Yeah. She done stole money from the kids again.
Wow.
Or their school system is so bad that they're letting children just
pass.
I met a young lady at a wedding, and never met her before, and she ended up we ended up sitting at the same table, and she was talking about she's new to Baltimore. She used to live in I think Montgomery County or PG County, and then she moved to Baltimore because of a job, and so she moved in one of those gentrified areas where they've converted these row houses to these nice, renovated homes. But I heard her say, like, it's kind of like, I said it's kind of like, urban centric is what I call it. Yeah. And she was like, well, it's kind of, these people just be there. I was like, what do you mean? You're like, people like be on the streets and stuff. I'm like, you moved to Baltimore. Yeah. Like, don't act like this is not Baltimore because you live there now. And she was like, yeah, but I just sometimes wish they would like do something. I was like, that's a gentrified whole mindset. But But what she did was she got cool with them, and now they're like her protectors.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, you want me to be cool with you to not be around, but then if you're there, it's like, oh, I want to use you for my safety. So it's like you want to have your cake and eat it too. I felt I called her out on. I was like, you just want to be, this bougie person living in a nice neighborhood without no people. You want to be you're a gentrifier, colonizer.
Yeah.
She's African, so she definitely got to finish. Like, oh my God, you calling me a colonizer? Yeah, you colonizer.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so it's an issue.
Yeah, and I see that. I see that with Baltimore in that sense kind of reminds me of. And I hate for people to that might jump in the comments and be upset about it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Baltimore reminds me of like Harlem in the sense of that if you've ever been to Harlem, you got $1 million homes right next to a project, and all of the people intermix and become a community. Where in other places where there's no way, sir, you're intermixing with me and I'm on the $1 million side, or I'm on the $1 million block.
Yeah.
And Baltimore has a lot of great things going for it. It's a lovely city with a lot of history, and it's a different kind of place. There's a different kind of vibe. But when we bring in these situations where, regardless of where you're from or whatever your economic background, and we can all come together like he was talking about and be a community, we get better. Once we have community, then we can get those people in that think like us, that maybe won't be so susceptible to corruption, where we can create a community of trust. When we can start to police ourselves in our own community, then it's like, hey, look, Bobo, we know you did it.
Bobo.
Yeah, that's it.
And understand, the cops gonna know you did it, Bobo. So what we could do as a community, we could take Bobo down to the station to make sure that nothing happens to Bobo, because I know that Baltimore is known for putting you on that rough ride.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I've had some days in my life where I've had to take that ride before, and that ride is rough.
Yeah.
I'm not going all down in there, but that's a terrible situation. So to make sure that we stand behind Bobo, as far as we're going to help you turn yourself in,
Right.
and get you the help you need, because what you did was wrong.
Yeah.
And we still love you. You still have a community to come back to, but you need to do this time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's
you know,
good, Thomas.
No.
Hopefully we can do that.
Now, I said all that to say that the city officials needs to, Baltimore. I don't know if they even actually like pay out all of that money, but I don't feel like, because offering $118K for somebody to come forward, to somebody that lives in their projects, that's a lot of money. That's a come up for them. So if they know what's happening, if they know what happened, then they probably not going to come forth, but at the same time they want to. But like you said, being anonymous, you can't be anonymous but for so long, especially when you receive that money. Somebody that know you be like, oh, they must have been the one, because you're going to move different. Even if you staying in your area or neighborhood, you're going to move different because you got money.
Right.
Now, is this tax-free money, Crystal?
I can't
already
say,
taxed?
because I'm not for 100% sure.
Yeah, because I'm going to say $118K after taxes. What, they going to hit on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Take your 18,000 and enjoy it, because you still in the same neighborhood, getting threatened by the same people you were getting threatened by before.
Right. So we're just going to bring this to a close, and I said all that to throw it back to David.
All right. Awesome, Crystal. Look, you know what? I'm sure all of you all can remember. Maybe Thomas, I'm not sure if you're old enough, but